Let me go ahead and give you a warning up front, okay? To those of you that have just stood on the idea that I don't know what I'm talking about for a long, long time, you have said that. You probably don't want to watch this video because I'm probably going to make you angry at me again. And that's fine. I just have stopped worrying about that. I've been involved in these things for some 43 years. Been watching them, writing about them, talking about them, helping others to understand them. And but that doesn't make any difference. And I showed this to our church yesterday. I don't know if I can make that come up very well because it wants to turn upside down and everything. That's a pin that I wear on my jacket every Sunday. We got that many, many years ago from the International Fellowship of the Christians and the Jews. Rabbi Eckstein led that. And we have been very, very involved since the inception of my ministry. We've been very, very involved in the prayer and the support and the help for the nation of Israel. And I make no apology for that whatsoever. Because of that, sometimes we get under this radar information, and that has helped me through the years to be a little bit more insightful. And that's important, what I'm saying. I'm not trying to brag on myself. I don't need to brag on myself. That's not necessary. Either you accept what we say or you don't. That makes no difference. But this is something that I have been very, very passionate about for a long time. And I appreciate the fact for those of you that immediately contact us when these kinds of things happen, and you're asking, why is this happening? What should we look for? And all of that kind of thing. And so that's the reason that we're doing this video. We're doing it early in the week instead of later in the week, because I don't want to wait till later in the week. It amazes me, and I've said that before in numerous formats. Jesus laid out in specific details, not this vague stupidity that so-called prophets use, and I'll get to that in a moment too. But Jesus laid out in specific details. His disciples came to him and said, "What will be the signs of your coming?" And Jesus laid it, and it is happening right in front of our eyes, and yet even the churches don't notice. They're asleep. They're fighting over stupidity and splitting themselves right down the middle. And the ones that split off that are supposedly conservative are nothing more than just mirror images of what they are splitting off from. It is just, and we're totally oblivious. And Jesus gave it in specific details. He said to his disciples, and I'm going to be reading verses out of Matthew 24, that section where Jesus is responding to the disciples and saying to them, this is what's going to happen. And he reaches the point in verse 25 that he says, "Behold, I have told you before." You should know. I've given you this information. We have it right here in the Word of God. We have it, and yet we're totally oblivious. And people are running around saying the Bible's a fairy tale. Let me tell you something. It's a pretty impressive fairy tale because it told you 2,000 years ago what was coming today. And we're oblivious. We have no idea. In Matthew chapter 24, verses 6 to 8, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. And suddenly, out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere, Hamas strikes Israel with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of missiles. Back when Ronald Reagan was in office, they put together this plan, and Israel was given the Iron Dome, but the Iron Dome has limitations, and so it worked in its abilities, but it has limitations. It's not set up to deal with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rockets and missiles. And several hundred people in Israel lost their lives, not to mention the other devastation and the injuries and the harm. Jesus said some 2,000 years ago, the signs of his coming, you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see that ye be not troubled. Now, I have been saying this in the newsletter and this type of thing. We want to try to stop these things from happening. Listen to what Jesus says. This is Jesus' words. This is not my words. For all these things must come to pass. Not they might come to pass, not possibly they will come to pass, not if this one is in office or that one is in office, they'll come to pass. No, they must come to pass. But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Boy, that earthquakes one. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So Jesus said it. That's where we are. And I'm going to get to where this all fits in with what is taking place. But don't be deceived. These things are coming, and they're going to continue to get worse. Do I know whether this is the spark? I don't, and I'm going to share that with you in a moment of why I don't. But recognize that this is going to happen. Jesus said it was going to happen. Wars and rumors of wars, and that's where we are. And sometimes you think you're going to have lots of warning. Our friends in Israel sure didn't, did they? In an hour, Revelation talks about your destruction will come upon you. Those in America remember September 11th, 2001. Was there any warning to at least us in the public that this was coming? Not a bit. But Jesus told you before. But nobody wants to listen to Jesus. They want to listen to the loudmouth politician on TV shooting off his mouth about what he's going to do. Nobody wants to listen to Jesus. Jesus says a couple of things in that again. Don't be troubled. And secondly, these things must come to pass. Okay, now watch, and I'm going to go down to verse 11 and watch this. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. I'm telling you, I'm expecting it. I'm looking for it. There's going to be these mercenary prophets that's going to come out with videos and writings and Facebook posts and that type of thing. And they're going to tell you, 6 weeks ago, I had a dream that this was going to happen. I just didn't share it with you until 2 days after it happened. But I promise you, I had this dream and I saw it all happen in my dream. 6 weeks ago, I saw this. Oh, God, help us. So what follows up with that? Send me $1,000 of your money so that I can predict more events 2 days after they happen. I found it interesting. I came home and I had been very, very sick, and I didn't know if I was going to do a video or not. And I sat down on Saturday morning. It was still dark outside, and I did the video. And in the middle of the video, it wasn't in my notes. It just came out in the video, talking about the terrorists didn't want peace. Their whole desire was destruction. That's what they were going to do. And I had no idea what had just happened. And so the thought went through my mind to try to show you this. That makes me a prophet. I'm a prophet, and I can tell you I had a dream 6 weeks before it happened. No, it doesn't make me a prophet. I'm not a prophet. It makes me informed. I appreciate your support. If you want to send me $1,000 check, and I can give you information. I can give you phony predictions 2 days after they happen. But that's what's happening in our society. I probably cost myself my ministerial job because back in 2020, as we began these videos, back in 2020, in June and July and August and September, all these things were happening, and all your mercenary prophets was getting on and saying, you're going to win the election, America's going to be great, God's going to restore everything. And I kept saying, no, he's not. The fix is in. Things are rigged, and you aren't going to win. And judgment is coming. And I challenge you to go back, look at those videos, and tell me one thing that we said that was wrong. I made everybody angry around me. One thing that we said that was wrong. Tell me where we are now. Does that make me a prophet? No, it doesn't make me a prophet. It makes me informed. That's why I told you at the beginning all of this, that we've been involved in this for a long, long time and have developed relationships with people and get information and hear things of what is happening. And we've studied what the Word says so that there is an understanding there of the knowledge of it. And the Bible says in James, if any of you lack wisdom, ask of God who gives liberally. But we don't want to listen to God. We want to listen to the Republicans or the Democrats or the homosexuals or the abortionist. We want to the evolutionist. We want to listen to anybody but God, because if we listen to God, we've got to change who we are. And we don't want to change. So the mercenary prophets feed, just like they did in Jeremiah's day, just like they did in Isaiah's day, just like they did in Daniel's day. They feed off of this desire to hear what we want to hear. God says, these things must come to pass. And you say, Mike, are you saying that what happened in Israel on Saturday must come to pass? You've got it. Are you saying that what is happening in America must come to pass? That's why I told you that back in 2020. When everybody was like, oh, it's going to be great, it's going to be great. People have accused me of saying that COVID was fake. I never, ever once said COVID was fake. I have very, very dear friends who lost their lives, who was in the hospital for a long period of time, who suffered greatly. It wasn't fake. It was intentional. It was intentional. And immediately they took control of everything. And the very guy that is on TV telling everybody, oh, stand against the mask and the vaccine, is the exact one that gave them to you. Oh boy, am I going to be in trouble for that one. And I know everybody's send to me and say, no, it was the governors. Go back and listen to the news reports with his face on there telling you he was even shutting down companies and factories to make these things. We've got mercenary prophets that are afraid to tell you the truth. And I know if I'm trying to win a popularity contest, I just lost it. The mercenary prophets are not telling you what is really going on, and it's right there in front of you. I don't have to hear a special word from God. I don't have to have a vision or have a dream. It's right there. Jesus told us before. And so why do we go into shock when it happens? Oh God, where are you? God's right in the middle. He's not shocked. And it's going to get worse. I know this is going to go on more like what we used to do. And again, if you don't want to listen, shut me off. Verses 21 to 22. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved. For the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. If God didn't stop this, there would be nobody left. None of us could stand against everything that is coming. So God shortens the days. Now, we think it's bad now. Folks, this ain't the big deal against Israel. Worse is coming. But God already has a plan to deal with that. In America, we have faced $4 a gallon gas and huge increases in prices of groceries and all of our stuff. And this ludicrousy of what they did when they passed, with the help of the Republicans, passed this inflation control stupidity. Oh, now Biden gets on TV and tells everybody, I've got inflation under control. Prices are coming down. But there's something going on that they're not talking about. You see, all of that is distraction. The decentralization of the dollar, because everything basically in the world system is based off of the dollar. When they base the value of a barrel of oil, it is based upon the dollar. The last time I heard, there was 13 nations, and it was growing very, very rapidly, are decentralizing the dollar. And nobody's talking about it much that I have heard anyway. Maybe some of you have heard it. Some of you are pretty savvy in those things. But most people don't even know what is going on. Let me tell you, when the dollar is decentralized, that dollar bill in your wallet is as useless as this piece of paper. You think $4 a gallon is a lot? You're going to be looking at $15, $16, $17. And on top of that, your dollar's not going to have any value. And so you aren't going to be able to buy it at all. There is tribulation coming that will make the 1930s tribulation and depression seem like a boom market, because you've never seen anything like this before. Mike, are you trying to scare us? No, I'm trying to get you to hear the truth according to God's word. Not according to me. There is tribulation coming that you have never seen before. Since the beginning of the world, you've never seen it before. This is what's coming. And we're asleep. You wonder, is the very elect already deceived? I can't believe that we are, because Jesus Christ said, on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. But let me tell you something. His church is not the Methodist, Lutheran, Nazarene, Pentecostal, Baptist. His church is the remnant, because these denominations are so far out into left field, they don't even know what they believe anymore. What we are teaching is so ludicrous. We're listening to the media and the scientists and the false doctors and the horrible denominational leadership, instead of listening to what Jesus told us, that there's trouble coming like we have never seen before. Ever. What should we watch for with Israel? Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39, if you've followed me at all, you've heard me make mention of those two chapters. Ezekiel 38 and 39 shows that it lays out an invasion on the nation of Israel, and it calls out the nations by name. The leader of this invasion is Gog of Magog. Magog was an early person, and his descendants have spread. And if you follow where they spread and migrated to, you find out who Magog is. And I'm telling you, where Magog is Russia. Don't worry about what Russia is doing in the Ukraine. You better be watching Russia and its main partner, who is the financier of Hamas. They are the financier of Hamas. Hamas is nothing but a figurehead to the nation of Iran. And Iran doesn't care about Hamas. Iran doesn't care about anybody. Iran doesn't even care about its own citizens. Iran cares about its regime and the destruction of Israel and America. Now, this will be the key to let you know if this is actually the end days spark. Okay? If Russia and Iran stays out of this, it probably is not. There's going to be no problem for Israel to take out Hamas. Israel is accused of being evil and rotten, and immediately the media went into that and started painting the picture of this is all Israel's fault. Let me tell you something, media. Israel has the military might that it could have already laid waste to the Palestinians. And Israel has shown great restraint through many years to not lay waste to them. When they shot missiles in and kidnapped their people and killed their people, and Israel has shown great restraint, and Benjamin Netanyahu has basically said the restraint is gone. We are at war and we are going to take action, and they will, and they can. The question in this is whether Russia and Iran are going to get involved. Because in the invasion of Ezekiel 38, they'll lead the way. It won't be Hamas. And when they do, and you can read it for yourself, God says, my anger will rise up into my face. People think God's a mushy, wimpy, the good little angel baby. God says, my anger will rise into my face. He'll stand up from his throne, and it will take them 7 years to bury the dead. Read it. Read it for yourself. It will take them 7 years to bury the dead. That invasion ain't going to end well for Russia and the Arabs. Now, do I know? No, I told you at the beginning, I'm not a prophet. I don't know if this that has happened will be the spark that will cause this to begin to be fulfilled. I don't know. But it's going to be fulfilled. And in Ezekiel 39, it mentions the nation that dwells carelessly in the isles. And I continue to believe that that is America. Surrounded by water, as the prophet Ezekiel is looking at something that had not even been discovered yet. So what would he call it? They're surrounded by water. They're an isle, an island. See, America funded the ability for Hamas to shoot these hundreds of missiles. And then Biden has the audacity to get on TV and say, you have my undivided support. He sent billions of dollars to Iran. Iran took some of those billions of dollars and gave them to Hamas to equip them with rockets to launch into Israel. Don't like the truth? Neither do I. I remind you when I was telling what was going to happen As we were in the summer and fall of 2020, I kept saying, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong, and I wasn't. I want to be wrong now. I'm an American. But it's time for us to quit listening to the lies that's being told to us and to begin to look at the truth. Now, I must bring this to a close. There's much more in this. I hope that I have helped you a little bit to look at what is going on and maybe help to at least give you a perspective. Let me give you a good word as we close this. In the Gospels, there is parallel, and so it was written by different ones, obviously, but they're parallel to each other. So what Matthew recorded in Matthew chapter 24 as Jesus giving this dissertation of what was coming and what would be the signs of his coming, Luke used that. I'm sorry, there goes my sickness again. Luke used that in Luke chapter 21. He gives the same thing, only he gives it from his perspective instead of from Matthew's perspective. It's very, very possible that Luke may not have been there. He may have been getting this from somebody else. We can argue that from those who are Bible scholars, and I am not one, okay? But what I can tell you is this powerful verse that Luke gave us in verse 28 and of Luke 21. And we need to hear this. How do we react to these situations that are going on around us? Is it frightening within our flesh? Yeah, it sure is. Some of the things I said to you today on the video aren't easy to hear. Yeah, it sure is. But listen to what Luke says. And when these things begin to come to pass, that's all this stuff and more, that there's more there, but when all these things begin to come to pass, then look up, for your redemption draweth nigh. Glory! This is not a depressing message. These things must come to pass. They must come to pass. They must come to pass. But as you see them begin to come to pass, praise God! Our redemption draweth nigh. Mike, do you know when it is? Oh, I wish I did. Because if I did, I would tell you right now. I don't. Even Jesus didn't know when it was going to come. But he knew very clearly what the signs were going to be. And he knew very clearly that it was coming. And nothing, no politician, no governmental city, no Hamas missiles, no Iran, no Russia, no anybody is going to stop it. So when you see these things coming to pass, don't be troubled. Don't be worried. Look up, because your redemption draws nigh. I hope that you stayed with us. Thank you for listening. God bless you.